Good morning, UUSS. Please join this morning in singing, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Now in round. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Come, yet again come.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday. Welcome to our Sunday service, to our sacred time of worship. I am Worship Associate Courtney O'Neill, leading our service today with Ministerial Intern Rosemary Dodd, Reverend Roger Jones, Crystal Fountain, Music Director Anthony Tavianini, and our pianist Irina Tchantceva for our service entitled Potluck Theology, Stone Soup for the UU Soul. As always, our AV team makes so much of this possible with the lighting, the sound, and the Zoom. Whether you are here in person or participating online, we are so glad that you are here. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we welcome you. The mission of our congregation says we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. To this end, we honor the Nishanan, Southern Maidu, and Miwok peoples for their enduring commitment to this land where UUSS exists. They have never ceded, left, nor ceased to care for this land. If you're on Zoom, please make sure to click on the link in the chat to view the order of service. There are so many ways to connect to this vibrant community. Each week, we have tables in the Welcome Hall where you can get connected and fill out a newcomer's form to receive our weekly message. And you can also do this online. Each week, the blue sheet, who's got a blue sheet? Can someone wave? Yes, thank you. The blue sheet and our message serve as a guide to our various programs. On Zoom, stay after the service to chat in breakout rooms and get to know one another. Here in person, we'll have coffee, tea, and opportunities for conversation. Please take this chance to greet someone that you don't know or reconnect with someone that you have not seen in a while. As a reminder, many of you have probably noticed that the back part of the parking lot is occupied and blocked off. So please remember when leaving the UUSS property today to exit through the first row, not the back row, as it is blocked off. And please try not to hit John, our parking lot attendant, on the way out. Right after today's service, please join Sandra Navarro for a newcomer's orientation of our campus. Meet her at the welcome table in the entry hall. The tour will take about 45 minutes, and all are welcome. Now please take a moment to silence your cell phones and watches so that we can all be present together in this sacred space for the service. I'd like to introduce Andy Kramer to come up now and share some information about our pledge drive.
Good morning. My name is Andy Kramer, and like many of you, I am a pledging member of this congregation. We are 1 week into our very short 2-week pledge drive. If you haven't made your pledge yet, I am going to leave you so inspired that you do so immediately. And for those of you who have already pledged, feel free to increase your pledge amount. For your convenience, there's a table immediately out those doors where you can get snacks, stickers, and pledge forms. So I'll let you in on something. I have found the secret to being happier. These are 5 actions from a Yale course on the science of well-being. And here's the best part. You can do all of these things here at UUSS. Number 1, take time to savor the things that you enjoy. If you're like me, you experience moments on Sunday morning that you savor, a beautiful piece of music or words that speak to your heart. Number 2, express gratitude. During the service, you can contemplate your gratitude as a joy, or even better, tell someone about it after the service. We even give you multiple ways of practicing gratitude's twin, generosity. Number 3, put other people's thoughts, feelings, and needs ahead of your own. Here at UUSS, we give you many opportunities to be of service to others. Number 4, build social connections. We are great at providing opportunities to build community, from engaging in conversation after the service to one of the many activities listed on the blue sheet. And lastly, exercise. If you need more exercise, the volunteers that keep our grounds looking beautiful would welcome your assistance. There's also an exercise class on Thursday mornings, and our campus is always here for a good walk. I want to be happy and to live in a way that reflects my values and leaves me feeling fulfilled. So 2 years ago, when I was deciding where to live, I knew that I wanted to be near a UU church. From my 20 years of being a UU, I have learned that actively participating in a UU church makes me a happier person, and frankly, a better person. Being here together on Sunday morning, in person or on Zoom, I suspect that you feel that way too. Our annual pledge drive is one opportunity for you to express your gratitude and practice generosity. In financially supporting this congregation, we are expressing our values. In particular this year, we seek to compensate our ministers and staff fairly and according to denominational guidelines. To do that, we need to increase our pledging by at least 15% over the current year. It is a matter of expressing our values that we treat our ministers and our staff fairly. So after some consideration, I decided to increase my pledge by 20%. Considering such an increase made me uncomfortable. Could I afford that? Then I asked myself, am I really being generous if it's easy? To me, this year, it was even more important to be generous, and it was okay to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I invite you to be generous and uncomfortable as well. Thank you.
was amazing. I'd like to invite Rebecca up to light our chalice. This hour is sacred because we make it so. As we light this flame, we come together to celebrate life's mysteries and to honor the spark of transcendent light within each of us. And now I think we have a very, very special story.
There might be a couple more participants that want to come up. No pressure. I am Crystal Fountain, the Religious Education Coordinator at UUSS, and today I am pleased to present the classic tale of Stone Soup, brought to life by RE children, youth, and volunteers. Once there was a traveler who had traveled far and wide. Pardon me. The travelers found themselves in an area where all the fields were brown. Nothing was growing there. After walking a long time, they came to a village. There were some houses in the village. There were some people in the houses. The traveler was hungry. So they went to the first house and they asked if they had any food to share. But the people at the first house told the traveler that they had no food to share because the fields were brown and dry. The traveler went to the second house and asked if they had any food to share. The answer at the second house was the same. Still, the travelers went to the third house. The answer at the third house was the same. They had no food to share. The fields were brown and dry. So the traveler walked to the center of the village and called out, "Good people, since you have no food to share, I will share with you. I will share my stone soup." The people in the village had never heard of stone soup. They came out of their houses to see what the traveler would do. The traveler pulled out a large pot, filled it with water, and built a fire under it, and unwrapped a stone that had been wrapped in cloth and put it in the pot with the water. The villagers moved closer. The traveler said, "I love stone soup. Too bad there's no onions, though. Stone soup with onions is hard to beat." And then one of the villagers said, "I think I might have some." And they went to their house and returned with some onions to drop into the soup. "Excellent," said the traveler. "Now if only we had some carrots and potatoes." One of the villagers said, "Well, I think I might have some." And they went to their house and returned with some carrots and potatoes to drop into the soup. As each villager brought something to share, it inspired the next villager to think about what they could bring. And before long, there was enough soup for the whole village to enjoy together. So they came and they talked and they sang and they ate, and they were glad that the travelers had come. They were glad for what they could share together. Thank you.
And the Tony goes to. With that, we'd like to then invite our performers and all those involved with RE to make their way out towards the back following our cast to continue your service as we guide you in singing your song. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Lift up your eyes.
Lift up your eyes.
Don't you despair.
Don't you despair.
Look up ahead.
Look up ahead.
The path is there.
The path is there.
You
Gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
Good morning. I'm glad to see so many of you came back after last Sunday's sermon. And happy to be here, happy to have you here if you're participating online. This is a community of care and compassion, and one way we express that is through our joys and sorrows, gratitudes and hopes. If you would like to let us know about your news for a future Sunday, you can find a link to our Joys and Sorrows form in the weekly message email, which comes out on Friday. First, I invite you to come together wherever you are by noticing where you are, where your body is, noticing the surfaces that your body is making contact with, the surfaces holding you, sustaining you. And notice your breathing. Breathing in deeply, pausing for a moment, and then breathing out, a deep exhale. And now a deeper breath in, pausing, and then exhaling deeply. As we continue breathing together, I have some joys, sorrows, and hopes to mention. Kathy Bernard, our former member and former Board of Trustees member, died 2 years ago this month, and today would be her 88th birthday. Her sister Barbara is here in honor of Kathy and says, I miss her terribly. Our member Janet Lopes has written this to us. About a year ago, I was pretty sick. I want to thank the many members of this congregation who reached out with messages of love and offers of help. I am recovered completely now and will always feel love and gratitude for you, lovely people. Thank you. And we give thanks to you, Janet, for your loving, joyful presence among us. This morning, let us extend our awareness beyond these walls to places near and far where lives are in peril and people are suffering. In Ukraine, Haiti, the Palestinian territory of Gaza, in Israel, and now in Iran, among other places. In these and other places, millions of ordinary people are seeking only safety and survival. As we pray for all kinds of oppression to end, let us bear witness to the human rights to safety, dignity, and freedom. We long for peace. And now, as we continue breathing together, I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer as I offer these words. Holy mystery of love, hold us and hold all of those whom we love and whom we remember and hold in our hearts at this time. Holy breath of life, breathe in us this day with new hope. Holy name of peace, touch us with serenity and with ease. Guide us each day in living with kindness, gratitude, generosity, and compassion. Holy mystery, holy breath, and holy name, whom we know as the miracle of life, and which we feel as the gift of human care. Give us ease and strength and courage on this day and in the days to come. So may it be. Blessed be, and amen. Now let us pause for a few moments in silence together. Blessed be.
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name.
The weight of the world in your muscles and bones.
Will you ease this pain?
Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain?
When my husband Michael and I first moved in together, we went through that phase of a relationship where we had to identify what each of our household responsibilities were going to be. He very quickly learned that the chicken parmesan I had impressed him with in our early dating history was the only thing I knew how to cook. And he adapted to that, and we quickly adopted a routine that involved him cooking and me doing the dishes. That interdependency became a part of our personal culture as a couple, and to this day, it's still frequently commented upon by our family. My husband's grandmother, Gigi, who is 100 years old now and doesn't always remember the person that she is speaking to, once told me how her favorite grandson, Michael, married a lovely woman who kept him in line but couldn't cook to save her soul. And it's one of my favorite things she's ever said to me. Another adjustment that comes with finding a life partner is learning about your partner's family and developing your own relationship with them. Now, my in-laws are loud, extroverted, Irish Catholics, and they love nothing more than an excuse to throw a big party. Birthdays, holidays, burn days where they can get rid of months of yard debris and a huge bonfire. If you name it, they will throw a party for it. Now, with parties comes food and cooking, and I quickly realized that I was never going to really be able to contribute to the meal itself, but I could claim the post-dinner cleanup of Thanksgiving and Christmas as my territory. And over the years, it's become a really nice routine where my mother-in-law will spend hours putting together an amazing meal, knowing that afterwards, she does not have to lift a finger to clean up. As the years have passed and our kids have come into the picture, it's been fun to watch them learn traditions around certain meals and celebrations from their dad and their grandparents. They've learned how to bake cookies from my mom. They've helped make traditional homemade raviolis that we serve at every Christmas dinner. They're old enough now to have their own cookbooks, and they always keep an eye out for dessert recipes that are lemon flavored, knowing how much their dad loves lemon. Now, I'm watching my kids grow in these family traditions and learn to be part of the traditions themselves, knowing that someday they may introduce these potlucks, birthday desserts, and Christmas raviolis to their own partners, maybe even their own kids if they choose to have any. But I'm not just watching them. I'm also cleaning. When they're learning how to bake cookies from my mom, they're also learning from me the importance of washing their hands before starting any recipe. They're learning certain kinds of dishes can be washed in the dishwasher, and some have to be hand washed. They're learning the proper way to sweep the floor, and yes, there is a proper way, after spilling cheese on the floor when making a quesadilla. These are all normal daily activities for our family. But when I zoom out and I look at it from a larger perspective, I think about how these activities are ways that Michael and I teach our kids to be part of community at large. Whether the community is a normal family dinner, an extended family celebration, cooking for their church, or taking part in a potluck. They are learning how to collaborate, how to assign tasks, how to be responsible for their own role, and, importantly, how to work with someone else to make something bigger. And most importantly, they're learning to clean up afterwards.
Our congregation's mission statement says, "We come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world." Among the ways we pursue this mission is the practice of giving away half of each Sunday's offering to an organization that is working to heal the world. Our community partner for this month of April is NorCal Resist. NorCal Resist focuses on immigration justice and community aid. It provides direct assistance to seekers of asylum who are recent arrivals in the United States. This assistance includes legal help, emergency and ongoing shelter, and accompaniment to important appointments. Its volunteers distribute farm fresh food, groceries, and essential items to those who need them. Its mutual aid farm is called Seeds of Solidarity. It feeds the community. The other programs include a community bond fund and a free brake light and car repair clinic. NorCal Resist builds resilience through mobilizing people in mutual aid efforts. They need our help this month especially. We have learned that right now they are having tough times financially. They may have to cut their immigrant housing assistance, and they may have to cut their only paid staff position. You may give during the offering. You may give online through our website or by text. Please give as generously as you can. Our shared offering will now be given and received. As Margot and Karen bring our offerings forward, please join me in the response in unison. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirits.
Good morning, everyone. When I was growing up at a small Unitarian Universalist congregation, we children and youth regularly subjected the adults to our theatrical efforts, at least every month or so. We kids we performed a lot of Christmas pageants with varying accuracy and seriousness. We did a full-length adaptation of the Lorax about environmentalism, and we had a very small children's choir where we sang songs written about UU principles. A song called UU Kids was a particular hit. It was not very good, but it was very sincere. They put up with us very well. When I was 12 or so, a member of the congregation asked us kids to participate in a production of a play, an original play of an original script called The UU Diner. And we worked for at least a few weeks on this UU Diner production, which included youth and adults as well. So we did the full-scale thing. We painted backdrops with cutout windows and cafe curtains. We moved the folding chairs in our rented worship space to face the long side of the room, and we set up card tables with checkered tablecloths so that they could be placed alongside the windows to look like a little diner. Cute. I'm sure that there weren't more than 50 people there for worship the day we performed it, including the performers, but it felt like a very important stage. And the premise of this play, the UU Diner, like diner restaurants, was that Unitarian Universalism, an analogy for it is that it's a restaurant where each person can freely choose what we want for breakfast. And this breakfast represents our spiritual beliefs. And at the start of the play, someone comes into the diner who has only been offered one breakfast option previously and is so shocked that so many people eating different foods could coexist in the same room. They're like, wow, pancakes and oatmeal. And I remember our adult narrator saying that in our congregation, choices about what we had for breakfast were entirely up to us. And so we mimed looking at menus, making a selection, and then delighting in our perfect, personally individualized and delicious breakfast. I remember laughter when someone ordered blueberry pancakes with syrup, and then another person proclaiming that they don't like blueberry pancakes at all, but we're happy to be able to eat oatmeal in the same space. Thank you very much. And so the foods in the diner represented our beliefs about life, death, and the bigger questions, and the diner itself represented our congregation. And in this metaphor, church was a place where we ate together, but we did not really share food. And so the diner was a celebration of the diversity of belief in the church, but it didn't say very much about our connections to one another. It was about tolerance, not acceptance or co-creation. A few years later, a youth advisor of mine came to guest speak at my congregation. By this time, I was probably 15 or 16, and I had recently completed our coming of age program, a program where youth write their own personal credos or statements of belief and share them with the congregation. So personal theologies were already on my mind. Tom spoke that day about our current fourth principle, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, which I thought was familiar. And rather than speaking to the infinite permissiveness of UU personal theologies, Tom stood at the front of the room and he talked about what it is we owe one another. His words clicked something in me into focus. He said that our search for truth is not entirely free. Not entirely free, I thought. I was thinking about blueberry pancakes and oatmeal and how breakfast is not really one another's business. No, not entirely free, he said. He called us, the congregation that day, into a mutual responsibility to make meaning in this life. Through finding meaning, he said, we can build a better and more equal world. He asked us to consider the impact of our personal theologies on our Unitarian Universalist communities, not only on ourselves, and to hold our shared values as something more than a broad outline for how to be together. Perhaps, Tom said, we could just call it the responsible search for truth and meaning, and be clear that our attempts to find truth must be held closely with accountability and the goal of co-creation of healthy communities. I didn't know if this was the first time that someone had preached on the responsibility bit of the fourth principle in my congregation, but it was definitely the first time it impacted me. And thinking back, I loved the diner play, but it probably isn't quite the right metaphor for a faith community, even one as diverse in beliefs as ours are. Diners are, well, transactional. They allow us to purchase and consume food at a set cost, and then go on with our days. In our UUSS community here, relationships are not transactional. This community is accessible to all of us, regardless of our financial contributions. If the goal of a faith community is to pick and choose faith beliefs and experiences from a menu individually and contemplate those, you might be better served by a reading list, YouTube lectures, or your local library. There's something key about building relationships and collaboration that other food-based metaphors capture better. Our stone soup story, which we saw today, offers another option. Stone soup is an old story that has been adapted from many sources. A prominent version draws from 18th century France, while a folktale sourcebook identifies at least 11 other variants from Russia, Sweden, Belgium, England, and France. Yet another version draws on stories from Jamaica, Korea, and the Philippines, where tricksters seek to spread enlightenment rather than seeking gain for themselves. In my home congregation, we also acted out the stone soup story every year, and people brought actual vegetables to church. We children and youth would hustle to the kitchen and make the mishmash of contributions into soup, proudly serving it to congregants after the service was over. And so I've always loved this story. And I see it as a story about collaboration, transformation, and the joy of community. Villagers who believe that their resources are scarce are invited into community with one another. The end product of the story is always more joy and connection and better food than any of the villagers could make alone. This is true about personal theologies. By coming out of our homes and sharing together, we can make much better soup. Our UUSS Sunday services are a stone soup miracle to me. The contributions of each person here, however tired we wake up, come together to create a nourishing broth. The service is sacred because we come together. All of you in the room enable us up here to create something. It wouldn't be a service without people. Our music adds liveliness and dimension. Our worship associates set up the space. Our welcoming team welcomes you in. Our staff print our orders of service. Our tech team sets up the slides. Our custodial staff sets up the chairs. I'm forgetting many people. Our RE staff provide nursery care and religious education. The list goes on and on and on. So there isn't something inherently divine about Sunday mornings and this place. It's our coming together that makes it possible. There's no stone in this soup other than the sincerity of connection and the invitation to make this time special in our week. But as we saw today in the stone soup story, the visitor to the village is very friendly, but a little duplicitous. And I would like to think that we don't have to trick people into volunteering for our committees or contributing to the soup of this community. And so I'm going to try one more metaphor. UUSS has your own soup culture, as it turns out. You have Soup Sundays, which have ended for this year, but which I am sure will be back in the fall. Twice a month, a UUSS program or committee volunteers to bring soup to church for lunch after the service. And during the service, people sneak out to these back tables and tend to a fleet of crock pots of homemade soups. And after the service, for a donation to the church, an optional donation to the church, this group serves soup to a long, long line of people. The building transforms into the most popular lunch spot on the block, with new friends and old friends sitting together and sharing a meal. This, my friends, is a potluck. I grew up in a culture of potlucks, a gathering where everyone is invited to bring a dish of food to share so that no one person must do all of the cooking or all of the cleanup. I love potlucks, and I think they might be the best food-related metaphor for Unitarian Universalist community yet. I've been to potlucks with complicated spreadsheet sign-up systems to ensure that everyone's dietary restrictions are accommodated and respected, and that there aren't too many pies. I've been to dinner parties, which end up being potlucks because my friends insist on bringing dishes to share, knowing that it will lighten the host's burden to do so. And I've been the friend who apologizes for not having time to cook something that day and is told to stop apologizing. There is more than enough food already being brought. Potlucks highlight that we each have something to contribute to our community, and that on days when we are tired, we can show up hungry and be nourished. We can bring soup, or we can bring our stories. We can pick up napkins on the way, or we can show up empty-handed with ourselves. I believe that when we rotate responsibility, our communities are well fed. Perhaps Unitarian Universalism really is more like a potluck, where we each bring our own expertise, backgrounds, and passions, and create a space where nobody goes hungry, whether spiritually or literally. We're invited into trying what one another have brought. We don't just pick and choose beliefs to fit our momentary preferences, but come together carefully to share a meal which is rich and genuine, just like our communities.
Connected community. Let's sing Love Will Guide Us, 131. Love will guide us, peace has
As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, please join me in speaking our shared intention. We extinguish this flame, but we carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
Let's reach out to one another. As we leave this service, let's remember our connections, our joy, and our love for one another. Blessed be.